Welcome to the creation of the Justice Center, an overview of the Protection of People with Special Needs Act and the Justice Center, provided by the New York State Justice Center for the Protection of People with Special Needs. During this presentation, we will discuss key drivers that led to the Protection of People with Special Needs Act and provide an overview of the Justice Center's responsibilities. We will also review data on reports received, substantiated reports, and the staff exclusion list, as well as information on the Code of Conduct and preventing abuse and neglect. In 2012, Governor Cuomo signed into law the Protection of People with Special Needs Act, Chapter 501 of the Laws of 2012, which was passed unanimously by the New York State Legislature. The purpose of this legislation is to create a lasting set of consistent safeguards for all vulnerable persons to protect them against abuse, neglect, and other conduct that may jeopardize their health, safety, and welfare, and to provide fair treatment to the employees upon whom they depend. An estimated 1 million adults and children receive services from a facility or program operated, licensed, or certified by our state's health, human service, and education agencies. These agencies share a common obligation to protect those that they serve and keep them safe from abuse and neglect, but there were fundamental differences in how the agencies met their obligations. Agencies had their own laws, rules, and regulations with no consistent definition of abuse across service systems, which resulted in inconsistency in the reporting and prosecution of incidents of abuse and neglect. Major gaps in oversight between agencies exposed vulnerable persons to harm. For example, there was no legal basis to prevent staff who were found guilty of committing serious or repeated acts of abuse or neglect from being terminated from their positions and being hired by another service agency. A stronger safety net with consistent standards and regulations was needed to eliminate these gaps in protection. The Protection of People with Special Needs Act provides that safety net. It contains various measures intended to eliminate the inconsistencies across service systems and establishes the Justice Center for the Protection of People with Special Needs as an independent state agency dedicated to safeguarding people with special needs and disabilities. The Protection of People with Special Needs Act assigns the Justice Center for the Protection of People with Special Needs, known as the Justice Center, several responsibilities. These include operating a 24/7 hotline for collecting allegations of abuse or neglect. An allegation is a statement, not yet proven, that claims, asserts, accuses someone of conduct that constitutes a reportable incident. Additional responsibilities include investigating or reviewing all allegations of abuse or neglect, prosecuting criminal cases of abuse or neglect, and creating and maintaining a list of individuals found guilty of serious or repeated acts of abuse and neglect, and the creation of ethical standards to guide those who work directly with vulnerable persons. During this presentation, I'll review each of these in detail and discuss other activities the Justice Center pursues to meet our vision of protecting people with special needs from abuse, neglect, and mistreatment by ensuring that the state maintains the nation's highest standards of health, safety, and dignity, and by supporting the dedicated men and women who provide services to vulnerable persons. As I mentioned, the Act requires the Justice Center to operate a statewide hotline, which is staffed 24 hours a day, 7 days a week by trained professionals. These professionals receive allegations from individuals receiving services, family members, the public, and mandated reporters who are required by law to report allegations of abuse and neglect and other significant incidents involving vulnerable persons being served in certain facilities and programs. Generally, the Justice Center jurisdiction covers facilities and programs operated, licensed, or certified by the following state oversight agencies: the Office for People with Developmental Disabilities, the Office of Mental Health, the Office of Alcoholism and Substance Abuse Services, the Office of Children and Family Services, state-operated programs, facilities, and certified residential programs, the Department of Health, certain adult homes and summer camps, and the State Education Department, residential schools and programs certified by the State Education Department. The Justice Center took its first call on June 30th, 2013. The following information shows the breakout of the types of reports received by the call center since the Justice Center was established in June 2013. The largest number of reports received each year, approximately 45%, are significant incidents. These reports don't rise to the level of abuse or neglect, but because of the severity or the sensitivity of the situation, may result in or have the reasonably foreseeable potential to result in harm to the health, safety, or welfare of a person receiving services. The Justice Center delegates the responsibility for the investigation of significant incidents to state oversight agencies. Approximately one-third of the reports are non-reportable incidents. These reports are either not an incident because the nature of the allegation does not meet the definition of a reportable incident, or the incident occurred in facilities and programs that are outside of the Justice Center's jurisdiction. In these situations, efforts are made to direct callers to an appropriate entity for assistance. On average, 20% of the reports are classified as abuse or neglect as defined in the Protection of People with Special Needs Act. Abuse is an action by a custodian against a service recipient that causes or has the potential to cause injury or serious protracted impairment of the physical, mental, or emotional condition of a service recipient. Most commonly, neglect is the result of a custodian's lack of attention or failure to act as required by his or her responsibilities. The smallest percentage of reports received annually are reports of deaths that are not the result of abuse or neglect. All deaths of individuals receiving services from a residential facility or residential program operated by the Office for People with Developmental Disabilities, the Office of Mental Health, the Office of Alcoholism and Substance Abuse Services, and the Office of Children and Family Services must be reported to the Justice Center. The Justice Center has the responsibility of ensuring that all allegations of abuse and neglect involving people receiving services from facilities and programs within our jurisdiction are fully investigated. The Justice Center directly investigates the most serious allegations of abuse or neglect, as well as nearly all allegations of abuse and neglect that occur in state-operated settings. After the Justice Center receives a report, the appropriate state oversight agency is immediately notified to ensure that protective measures are implemented to safeguard the service recipients. If an incident is criminal in nature, the Justice Center also notifies the District Attorney's Office and works with local law enforcement. The Justice Center reviews the findings of all investigations of abuse or neglect, including those conducted by a state oversight or provider agency, and makes the final determination that such allegations are either substantiated or unsubstantiated. If an allegation of abuse or neglect is substantiated, the subject of the finding has the right to appeal the determination. Allegations that rise to the level of a criminal offense are prosecuted by the Justice Center or the County District Attorney. The Justice Center shares jurisdiction and responsibility for criminal cases with local law enforcement agencies and district attorneys across the state to bring charges against individuals accused of abuse or neglect involving criminal conduct. If an investigation results in an arrest, either by the Justice Center criminal investigators or by other law enforcement agencies, Justice Center prosecutors are empowered to handle all aspects of criminal prosecutions from arraignment to trial or plea bargain. Justice Center prosecutors also provide assistance as needed to local district attorneys. Since the Justice Center was established, we find that on average, 35% of abuse or neglect cases investigated each year are substantiated. Cases of abuse and neglect that are unsubstantiated are immediately sealed. A sealed report means that the report is not publicly available and cannot be accessed by future employers. Substantiated reports of abuse and neglect are classified into one of four categories based on severity. Category 4 offenses occur when either the conditions at a program or facility expose service recipients to harm or risk of harm, or an individual experienced abuse or neglect or the risk of harm, but the person responsible could not be identified. Approximately 5% of abuse or neglect cases are determined to be Category 4 cases. The largest number of cases, at approximately 75%, are classified as Category 3 cases, meaning that a known individual committed an act of abuse or neglect, but it was not determined to be a serious act of abuse or neglect, and the health, safety, or welfare of a service recipient was not seriously endangered. Category 3 findings are sealed after 5 years. Category 2 findings are acts that significantly endanger the health, safety, or welfare of a service recipient. These cases are also sealed after 5 years. However, if an individual receives 2 Category 2 findings on separate incidents within a 3-year period, the second offense is elevated to a Category 1 offense and the individual is placed on the staff exclusion list. Approximately 18% of substantiated cases are classified as Category 2. On average, a very small percentage of substantiated cases, 2 to 3%, are classified as Category 1. A Category 1 finding is a serious act of physical abuse, sexual abuse, or other severe conduct. Individuals who have an allegation substantiated in a case of abuse or neglect, either a single Category 1 offense or two or more Category 2 offenses over a 3-year period, are placed on the Justice Center staff exclusion list. Individuals are placed on the staff exclusion list for committing serious acts of abuse and neglect, including hitting, choking, punching, sexual contact, falsifying records, and failure to report serious allegations of abuse or neglect. At the close of 2017, 398 individuals have been placed on the staff exclusion list. On average, 100 people are placed on the staff exclusion list each year. Individuals placed on the staff exclusion list have the right to appeal. For those who do not appeal, or those who appeal the determination but lose, placement on the staff exclusion list is permanent. State-operated, certified, or licensed agencies and providers under the jurisdiction of the Justice Center are required to check the staff exclusion list before hiring an employee, administrator, consultant, intern, volunteer, or contractor, and they are prohibited from hiring anyone on the list. Justice Center, for example, performed 288,911 staff exclusion list checks in 2017. The staff exclusion list is not publicly available. Employees found responsible for Category 2 and 3 offenses while not placed on the staff exclusion list are subject to progressive discipline, including retraining and other actions to facilitate their safe return to the workplace. The Justice Center represents the state in all administrative proceedings relating to the discipline of state employees found to have committed abuse or neglect. The Justice Center does not have jurisdiction in disciplinary issues for non-state agencies. The state's care system lacked a uniform set of expectations and basic ethical standards for individuals working with people with special needs. Today, the Justice Center's Code of Conduct for Custodians of People with Special Needs articulates the core values that guide the delivery of services and supports to people with special needs, including a duty to report all incidents. All employees who have regular and direct contact with people receiving services must adhere to the Code of Conduct and sign the pledge annually stating they will uphold the Code of Conduct. An annual Code of Conduct Recognition Award has been established to honor direct support staff who embody the responsibilities set forth in the Code of Conduct. The Justice Center's Advisory Council selects 4 winners from across the state. Staff can nominate themselves or be nominated by a person receiving services, a family member, a guardian, a coworker, a supervisor, or a member of the public. The Justice Center pursues various measures in an effort to prevent abuse and neglect before it occurs. For example, the Justice Center is responsible for monitoring facilities and provider agencies in their responses to reportable incidents. Utilizing data from the Vulnerable Persons Central Register, or VPCR, the Justice Center makes recommendations to facilities and programs for durable corrective and preventative actions to reduce the likelihood of specific acts of abuse or neglect or mistreatment from reoccurring. Analysis of data collected on the types and frequency of abuse and neglect allegations in the Vulnerable Persons Central Register informs the Justice Center's prevention efforts. This information is used to develop a variety of initiatives to help combat abuse and neglect, including the development of toolkits that provide facts, best practices, and resources for individuals, family members, and provider agency staff to promote abuse-free environments. For example, an examination of cases revealed many service recipients had been left alone in vans during the summer months when there is a high risk of injury. A Spotlight on Prevention toolkit, which focused on the dangers of leaving service recipients unattended in vehicles, was developed. The toolkit includes case studies, an infographic poster, video gallery, and fact sheets for drivers, provider agencies, and individuals receiving services and their families. A vehicle hang tag, which reminds drivers to look before you leave a vehicle, was made available free of charge. In 2015, the Justice Center established a Spotlight on Prevention web portal that provides links to resources for providers, people receiving services, and family members. In addition, a multi-agency prevention of abuse and neglect workgroup produced a self-assessment tool for providers to voluntarily evaluate their programs for risk of abuse or neglect. The tool provides resources to mitigate identified areas of risk. The self-assessment tool can be found on the Justice Center's website. The Justice Center welcomes suggestions on policies and practices to prevent abuse. Suggestions can be sent via email to prevention@justicecenter.ny.gov. Emails sent to this address will not be shared with outside entities. In addition to preventing abuse and neglect, the Justice Center provides training and support to state oversight agencies, provider agencies, individuals and family members, and the community. The Justice Center develops accessible, innovative, and effective training and informational materials. For example, the Justice Center provides comprehensive disabilities awareness training to state agency investigators and local and state law enforcement agencies, providing information and resources to help officers respond to incidents involving individuals with special needs. Our website also offers interactive and recorded trainings on topics such as the Code of Conduct and mandated reporting. In 2014, the Individual and Family Support Unit was established as a resource for victims of abuse or neglect, their families, personal representatives, and guardians. Advocates provide assistance in a variety of areas, including guidance and information about the reporting and investigative process, support during criminal cases and proceedings, victim interview accompaniment, and case status updates. The unit is staffed Monday through Friday from 9 a.m. until 5 p.m. The Justice Center maintains a distinct toll-free information and referral or INR line. Staff responds to calls and email inquiries regarding disability issues, including disability rights, legal assistance, housing, employment, assistive technology or AT, healthcare, and any other disability-related questions. Specifically, staff connects individuals with information, provides technical assistance and/or referrals to programs or services, and solves problems for individuals with disabilities, parents and guardians, advocates, employers, and providers. Through referrals and technical assistance, the Justice Center further supports and empowers individuals with disabilities in all settings. The Disability Resource Clearinghouse is located on the Justice Center website. Individuals can access information about disability-related programs, services, laws, and regulations. This clearinghouse links to resources from local, state, federal, and national agencies, as well as nonprofit organizations. It provides a wide range of information that may be helpful to people with disabilities, their families, caregivers, and advocates. To report abuse or neglect, call 1-855-373-2122. The Justice Center maintains a distinct toll-free information and referral, or INR line, which is 1-800-624-4143, 8:30 a.m. to 4:30 p.m., Monday through Friday. The Individual and Family Support Unit is staffed Monday through Friday from 9 a.m. until 5 p.m. and can be reached at 1-800-624-4143. Thank you for your interest in this presentation. For more information about the Justice Center, please visit our website at www.justicecenter.ny.gov.